I'm here to talk with you about how your business can cause a probate. Hi, I'm Alec Osland, an attorney at Yanowitz Law Firm, where we help families with wills, trusts, and probate. Let's first talk about probate in Minnesota. When's it required and what does that look like? So, probate in the state of Minnesota is going to be required if there's over $75,000 worth of assets that are in someone's estate, or if the estate owned any interest in any real estate. If we have to go through probate, it means we're going through the court to distribute the assets per the terms of someone's will. Probate is generally takes about 9 months to a year. If it's a very simple probate, there's generally a few $1,000s in attorney's fees, and it is completely public. So anyone can go onto the computer and look at any of the filings, any of the probates that are going on right now. So generally, we try to avoid probate when we can. Now, business assets can force probate in a variety of different ways. If you have a sole member LLC or you're a sole business owner, maybe maybe you don't even have an LLC and you've just been doing business name and haven't actually filed anything, we can still have probate with all of these businesses. If you haven't identified where your business assets and the interest in the business are going to pass following your death, then these assets are going to fall to your estate. And if they're over $75,000, or if there's any real estate, there's going to be a probate that's going to be required to distribute these assets to the beneficiaries. If you have, large equipment, or maybe a couple different pieces of equipment, or the real estate that you maybe rent back the LLC to have the business operate and run the business out of this building that you own, if those assets are titled in your individual sole name and not the name of the business, again, those assets are going to fall to your estate. They can cause a probate. Now, for businesses that are owned by multiple people, we can still have a probate in those situations as well. The operating agreement is going to be the key here. That's why it's very important that you have an operating agreement, not only when you have a single member business, but it's especially important if you have a business where we have multiple people co-owning the business together. Those operating agreements go into very many different details with different decisions and who's responsible for what. But one of the key provisions is what happens when one of the owners they pass away. So those operating agreements, they're going to identify, do the surviving owners have a opportunity to buy out the estate, or can the interest be passed to potentially a spouse if someone passes away, or to their children? All of those are essentially going to identify how this asset, which is the business interest, is going to pass. If there is no instruction on how that interest passes, it's most likely going to fall to someone's estate and then have to be distributed accordingly. A lot of the operating agreements that I review have language that allows the surviving business partners to buy out the deceased business partner. Sometimes that is for a discounted price, sometimes it's the fair market value. Doesn't really matter for today's discussion, but the key here is, where is that payment being made? If it's not identified, it's generally then going to be made payable to the person's estate, which by itself could potentially force a probate. For that reason, it's very important that you review your documents, and you need to verify that, one, everything for the business is titled correctly, either that it's in the business name or if it's in your name as an individual. Do we have proper assignments that are done? Have we identified how your business interests are going to pass? And then also we want to make sure that if you have an operating agreement, we want to make sure that the provisions for what happens when someone passes away, that they align with what everyone thinks they do and that you have taken the steps to make sure that those assets are going to pass, whether it's to a trust or whether it's to a spouse or someone else, because we want to make sure that, again, those assets are going to end up where you want, and that we have certain assignments for the payout. Is we want to make sure that payout, goes to maybe a surviving spouse or goes to a trust, so that we don't have to have a probate solely to collect a business buyout. So all of these legal business documents, they're pretty complicated to go through. It's why it's very important that you work with an attorney who is experienced and knows what they're doing when looking at these documents and preparing them. So I'd like to thank you for joining me today. If you're interested in estate planning, business, probate, make sure you subscribe to our channel to find out when we post a new video. Thanks. Bye.